The M700 is the epitome of Piper's production. Absolutely fabulous airplane. I'm very excited about flying it. And today I finally got to fly the M700. Not only did I get to fly one of the coolest airplanes I think that's ever been built, I got to fly it with two people that I think I could say I really love y'all. Y'all are great. I've got Dave and Onie here with me. David and Onie Irvine own an M700, but it's not like y'all just got this. You did just get this thing, but y'all been in this PA-46 world for a long time, and I kind of helped y'all come here. And I don't know, it's been a long time. How many years have y'all owned a PA-46 airplane?
Ooh, I think you probably remember as well as we did, but we got
it in San Diego.
31062 with Joe's assistance, and bought it out of Highland Aviation in Escondido or San Diego, California.
But I think it's been more. But I think it's been more than 10 years ago. It's
been really close to that.
Yeah. So somewhere around that ballpark. It's been a long time. I mean, I've been in your matter of fact, y'all owned y'all owned that Meridian, and then you moved up in the world, got an M600, got another M600, got an M6. Yeah, as y'all have moved up, it's been kind of, one of the sad parts about it is I trained with y'all for so long, for so many years, had such a great relationship with y'all. And then for a while there, you bought all these new airplanes where you didn't have to come to training with me. And it's sort of like, hey, wait a minute. Where y'all at, man? You're supposed to be hanging around with me. But no, in all sincerity, y'all two are some of my favorite people. I kind of feel like when you came into the Meridian PA-46 world that y'all needed me and that we sort of jived and we got along really, really well. And it's really been good to see y'all two flourish in aviation. And I guess that's what I want to talk about today, just about aviation and how you've progressed from where you were and to where you are. Because there's a whole bunch of people out there listening in the world that look at people like y'all who are, I mean, Dave, we were talking about it, you're over 2,000 hours of PA-46 time now, flying the M700, and you've walked up the ladder over the last decade to get there. So let's go back into history just a little bit. It all started with a 182.
Yep.
And you still got the 182.
Still own it.
Still on the 182.
Kids are flying it today. In fact, our son flew it today. So
it's a beautiful thing. When did the 182 first come into your life?
About 12 years ago, I guess, or thereabouts. We bought the 182
from Mike Sizemore.
Yeah, from Mike Sizemore, and we had built a facility in Hot Springs, Arkansas, and by car it was 5 hours, and
by airplane it was a lot less.
By the 182, it was an hour and 30 to an hour and 45, and I had always wanted to fly, but never could as somebody growing up with a family and whatever, and this was the perfect excuse.
Right.
And so we got into the 182, and I think I put a little over 600 hours on the 182 in less than 2 years, or about 2 years. And then started thinking about the next step and what we wanted that to be. And
okay, hold on. I want to hold
reached out to Joe.
There you go. But I'm going to hold you off for just a second. Only when he said, I want to get an airplane so we can fly to y'all make clinics. You build, you build, design, and run clinics. Basically.
Yes, medical clinics, yes.
Medical clinics, exactly right. And you've got a bunch of them, and it's worked out really, really cool for y'all. But they're not in your hometown in Oklahoma. You got to be able to reach out and get to these places. So when he said, hey, honey, I want to buy a Cessna 182 and get into aviation, make all this go down, what was your thought?
Yeah, I was okay with it because we spent a lot of time on the road driving. So having something that got us there faster, I was okay with it.
Yeah.
And if it needed to be better, the word safety meant a lot.
It did.
Yeah. And that word safety still really means a lot to Onie.
It does. And one of the things I remember about you and what has been, I say, prevalent or been a part of your persona in aviation, you are not a wife who's a distant. You don't sit in the back and read a book and know, you know exactly what's going on. You're sitting in the front or if you are in the back, you're aware, you know the things. Like when we finish a training event, you'll want to know what did we do and how did we do it. And this is not, you don't have a blind eye to aviation. You really want to know what's going on.
Yeah, I do want to know what's going on. I'm not always technically say aircraft wording things correct, but I can tell you exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
I can tell you what button needs to be pushed or what doesn't need to happen, but
right. Yeah. And not a pilot, not wanting to be a pilot in that respect, but you want to know what's going on because you want to have a feeling that things are being operated in a safe manner. Yes. Am I saying that correctly?
You said perfect. I always say I make them perfect co-pilot because I can make sure that I can double check behind the scenes to make sure that, oh yeah, he did that perfect. Yeah.
It's sort of like a Tonto, and he's the Lone Ranger and you're the Tonto, but a Tonto that knows exactly, and you never want to be the Lone Ranger. You never want to be that guy, but the good helper that's there and aware and cognizant and know what's going down on that airplane.
And I do like learning.
Yes. Yeah. And Onie is a great co-pilot, and she loves sitting front right seat and monitoring and paying attention and assisting when necessary, and very talented at that.
And when it comes to business as well, you're not a sit back person either. You are a lean forward in the foxhole kind of a person as well.
Yes.
Matter of fact, when it comes to running the business, who runs the business?
Onie runs I build it and she manages it. And so our team does the construction work and her team does the management.
So yes, and we both have our pecking orders, and we've been together since we were 15, started dating at age 15. So we spent most of our life together. So we know where we both fit in. When we build our clinics, everybody loves that David does the design. He'll spend a little more money than I will. He makes them a little nicer. He's a little more thoughtful. He provides what people want. I'm a little more the bitchy one that's going to say, yeah, no, we're not doing that. So when it comes to the management of things, I don't mind whipping a little bit and saying, no, this is what we're doing. So it works out well for us.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about your move to a Meridian. When that occurred, big bite. I mean, 182 to a Meridian is a big step.
Yeah.
You're moving
that was
up in
literally
pressures.
our step.
Right? Yeah. I
mean, when we started looking, we wanted a single engine turbine. We fly a lot at night. We fly a lot. We just fly a lot. And so looking for the reliability of the turbine and that kind of thing, and which one, and kind of going through the motions. And, I had listened to or read some of Joe's early writings about the Meridian and what not to do, and your turbine stupid
I remember
comments and some of those kinds of things. And so I kind of reached out to Joe and said, hey, I'm thinking about a Meridian. Well, actually, probably we really had thought about a Meridian, and Larry with Cutter.
Oh, yeah. Larry.
Trying to think of Larry's last name.
Larry Johnson. That's right.
Yeah. So he had 950 Tango on the ramp at Addison, and we flew down to Dallas for a market center for the business, for construction. And I called up and said, Larry, can we take a look at your plane? And he said, yeah, I'll meet you out there on the Sunday. And we met out there, and another couple was with us. And, that we flew with him for a couple hours, and that really solidified that, yes, the Meridian was a plane that would fit our needs, right?
Yep.
You wonder, was it, and of course this was we ended up with an 05 Meridian, and so slightly less fuel load, a few things. So it really fit our needs really, really well. And so then it was like, okay, where do I find the right one?
Right.
And that's where Joe came in.
That's where I came in.
And
I'm so
it's
glad.
kind of like, okay, well, if I'm looking for the right airplane and really trying to find what was important to me and to Onie and I both in that purchase process, Joe helped us do that.
Yeah. And we got a good airplane.
Yes,
We got a
did.
really
It was
good
a
airplane.
great airplane.
Did
31062.
I've got fond memories of 31062. A
Yeah.
great airplane, did a wonderful job for you guys, and the ownership of it for you was not a difficult time in training, but a step up. It was we did more training. It was higher level, more impactful. It was like you moved the training to the next level, which is really what it needs to be.
Well, and it was. I mean, I was a VFR pilot primarily before we made that move. Obviously, we knew we had to have IFR, and we're in the process of doing that, and completed it actually after the purchase of 31062. I had 0 retract time.
Right.
And I literally asked you, hey, can
this be done?
Can this be done? Can I get into this? Right. How many people had said, hey, you need to go buy a Bonanza or go buy an Arrow or something.
Go buy a Gap airplane.
Yeah. And build retract time. And I'm like, why?
Oh, well,
I
Joe
mean-
showed us why.
And
why not?
Joe literally walked us through the process and helped us
Yeah.
to make that happen. And
You know, back if you look back a decade ago, the insurance climate was very the insurance was available. It was cheaper. It was a climate with you could do that. When 2019 came along, and all of a sudden the insurance industry said we're changing the industry. There was a couple of underwriters that moved out. There's the supply and demand issue swung the pendulum the other way. If you came out in 2019 and wanted to do what you did, you probably couldn't do it. We probably would need a Gap airplane to be able to go get some retract time so you can do the next thing. But I've always said, if you can buy the most airplane that you can actually fly, meaning that where you move from a 182 to a Meridian, you accepted a higher insurance premium for that time because of the instrument rating. I told you, I said we're going instantly for the instrument rating. You did. It worked out great, and that would have been a real hard thing to do from 2019 to really just about 2024. I will tell you, the pendulum's swinging back the other way now. It's the pendulum 10 years ago was cheap, available insurance and easy premiums and all that. Swung all the way over to where it was very, very difficult. If you were a periphery pilot, a high time, had an accident, anything of that nature, you were in trouble. That pendulum is swinging back. And I think there's going to be some people that are out there in the world that are going to be able to do what you did, which is move from a Cessna 182 directly into a turbine at low hours. And it can happen. For you, the key was good training and lots of it to make sure that you knew exactly what you were doing. And I remember Onie, he is going to get that. We're going to make sure he knows exactly what he's doing. And she was watching like a hawk to make sure all this went down right.
And the reality was the Meridian is literally as easy to fly as the 182 in my book. I mean, slightly more complex. I had a high performance 182, constant speed prop. So I had experience.
You got to adjust the mixture.
I had experience with things that were not just a simple fixed pitch, but it's easy to fly.
Right.
It's easy to land. It's just a phenomenal airplane.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now let's go ahead. Tony,
Well, and I was going to say, and we still believe training is important. I mean, there's
absolutely.
never a time that we spent money for training that we walked away and go, well, that was a waste of time. We always learn something, no matter where we are, when we go. Yeah. So we're big on
it's
education and training.
I'll say it differently. If you can bolt on any safety device into this airplane, and y'all progressed up in airplanes, you've not been slow to ever buy the right safety equipment. Today you have an M700, which is completely full. It's replete with the best technology that's out there today. There's no doubt about it. But if you're going to spend money on the best way to save your airplane or make your airplane safe, spend money on whoever's in that left front seat. That is training for making that pilot make good pilot decisions, aeronautical decision making, being able to fly the aircraft when things are not right. That's the place to spend money if you're going to do it. Other places are good, auto land, underspeed protection, good autopilots, all that's wonderful and great. There's nothing wrong with it. But don't forget to spend the money on that person in the left front seat for good training. It's just a critical thing. Let's talk about your move from a Meridian, because eventually there was a place where you said, we need to move up and we want to, and it probably had a place to do some with finances, I would assume, and some with payload and range. What was it?
Well, both. But reality, payload and range were certainly things that we were looking for. And then for us, it was a tax play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the combination of the two, and I called a friend of ours and said that had a 600 and kind of shocked them and said, "Hey, I need a 600 pilot. You know one? I got an aircraft and I need to bring it home from, KCAC." So,
Yep, exactly. And so you moved up to the M600 world.
yeah, so we bought 3.9 November Golf and early 600.
I want to intercede here. Give me a little, give me your feelings about KCAC and your relationship with them over the years. Good, bad?
No, amazing.
They've been absolutely phenomenal. I mean, everybody there, the maintenance team, Dave DeWalt has been, sales has been just beyond phenomenal and has walked us through every step that we've made in that process. And
Yes. Yes. On a scale of 1 to 10, they're 12. And I say that they don't owe me anything. I don't owe them anything.
Right.
That's how we're treated. They are the most respectful people. They eat, drink, and breathe aircraft. Dave DeWalt is up on the latest, not only just his airplane, but every airplane. Anytime, Dave was so busy. So this last week we wanted to replace one of the tires. And I called like, yeah, no, we need this done. And they're like, hey, we're going to get you worked right in. We're so far behind. But they just still, if it's anything, they're great.
Yeah. We help people buy and sell airplanes a lot. And when like right now, we're buying an airplane that we're working with KCAC. We're helping, we're not buying it. We're helping a client purchase that airplane, but we're working with, because the airplane's at KCAC and we're going to buy that airplane. They've always been so good. There's
just phenomenal.
Not all service centers are that way. But like I say, KCAC they just seem to do a good job. It seemed to well-led, good people doing good stuff.
Yeah.
And
it's like they don't have a broken link from the girls at the front desk to the girls at the office, even if you're closing on. So we've had bought four through them, 4 airplanes from them contacting our financial institute. Everything is just well thought out and it's planned and there's no surprise. And it's really well done. Yeah.
Well, good shout out to them. KCAC doing a good job. That's for sure. So you got the M600. You like it better?
3.9 November Golf was the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We did like it. The 05 Meridian, has 1174 fuel, and you never saw 1174. You'd see 1140, 1150 pounds of fuel at max, full, totally full.
Yeah.
In 3.5 hours, you're sucking. You need to be.
You
need to be finding a place to be on the ground. Right?
That's right. You better find.
Now, I could go nonstop from where we were to Fort Lauderdale and be there, but I was at our limits. Our personal limits are 250 pounds of fuel on the ground, and you're there, right? Yeah. You're pushing that.
Yeah, you're doing weight and balance, meaning you're not just like, hey, top off the airplane to the fuel guy every time, because you now have an issue, because if you top it all the way off, you're not loading. If somebody extra wants to jump on board, or if you got that heavy toolbox that you want to carry along, now you're like, well, can I really carry it? Because you're either going to have full fuel, or you're going to have more things to carry, but you're not going to have both.
That's right.
Yeah.
M600,
totally different picture. They say 1,700 and some 1,742 pounds of fuel. I've seen 1,800.
Right.
Top full. I've been in the air 5.5 hours and landed with 400 pounds of fuel.
Right.
I've come nonstop Sacramento, California to Grove, without much of a tailwind. It was about a zero balance.
Yeah, we're talking about eastern Oklahoma, like California to eastern.
Farthest east you can go in Oklahoma, and from Sacramento nonstop, right?
Yeah.
And I've been to DC 2.5 hours, and I've been back with 100 knot tailwind and coming back 100 knots on the nose, and 5 hours and 15 minutes, but we landed with 440 pounds of fuel.
Exactly.
Right?
If you live in the center part of the country, which y'all do, Grove, Oklahoma, you can hit anywhere in the United States, whether it's Bangor, Maine, Seattle, Washington, San Diego, California, or Miami. You can hit every bit of that without stopping for gas. And load up people and do it. You put 4 people on board with bags, come out of Oklahoma, hit anywhere in the United States.
Yeah, it just has phenomenal legs, and that makes a huge difference. The new wing is different. The main gear is better. It really answered the shortcoming of the original Meridian. Probably was its range,
right?
And the 600 answered all of that,
right. And as your company grew, you began to put businesses. You began to put the clinics in different places, further away. And give me just a second to talk about the impact of that upon your business, Onie. What has an airplane meant to the work that you do?
Oh, it's everything. We could not have grown our business without an airplane. It is, as a woman at home that needs to have a washer and dryer or a car to go to the grocery store, that's how important our airplane is to us. It's used multiple times a week. We just couldn't do what we do without an airplane. It's that important.
Right. And has there been times where you have not had your airplane?
Oh, yes. And those are not good times.
Annuals are painful. It's like, hurry up.
Yes. And
there is a thing there's a thing when you establish a lifestyle where the airplane is integral to your lifestyle, and then you lose that ability to fly. It's a big, gigantic deal.
It's huge.
Okay. I want to branch off into the next part of the equation because I had a heart attack. The people that listen to this know this as well. I had a heart attack, and I will tell you there's several aspects. If you look at what I do from my life, I'm a DPE, and I cannot do DPE work without having my medical. And therefore, I've not done DPE work. Now, I will tell you, I've not missed the DPE work very much, in the sense that I like being a DPE, but that's not my thing. You know what I'm saying? It's not, when I die, no one's going to be in the obituary saying this is a DPE. They're going to say, I think they're going to probably say I was a flight instructor, but even without a medical, I can be a flight instructor. So that's been good. The DPE stuff I've missed, but not horribly. Flying the King Airs in terms of like managed clients. When somebody calls and says, hey, I want to fly from here to there in the King Air. And I've not really missed that in a grand scheme. It's nice. What I've missed is just the ability to jump in an airplane, go wherever the hell I want to go. Because I've made my little 182 and my Bonanza or any PA-46 that's around, and I want to go to Galveston, or I want to go to this thing, or I want to move this airplane, or I want to go on a hunting trip, or I want to go to Chattanooga. I want to do whatever it is that I want to do. And I built my life around just get in the airplane and go. And now I can't get in the airplane and go. And it's a severe restriction upon my lifestyle. And I hate that part of the whole thing. I would give up I would give up all kinds of stuff. What I want back mostly is just the ability to, I got this trip to go somewhere. It literally, I would get in an airplane like I would get in my car and think the same thing. It's just the way I do business, the way I go.
Yeah.
And our airplane is 5 minutes from the house.
Yes.
And it leaves when we're ready to leave.
Our airplane really is 99% business. It wasn't just a pleasure plane. It's not a pleasure plane. I mean, when we do get that opportunity, it's great. But not having that.
It's a time machine.
It's a time machine.
It's a magic carpet to get you where you need to go. And when you don't have it, you're in trouble. All right. So now I got to get to you here because David, I think I'm going to go ahead and pop the question here. Or, well, not that question, but I'm going to let the cat out of the bag. You had a heart attack not very long ago. And I will tell you.
Yeah, been a little over a year.
Yeah. A little over a year ago, you had a heart attack, had a heart issue. I think it was a heart attack. Is that the right way to say it? And lost your medical, had to make a bunch of decisions about finding other people to fly you, and you had to find alternate ways to be able to get around. But I want to go back into that because I want to talk to the people, because there's other people. I had a heart attack. You had a heart attack. I've been wanting to do this for a while. And I want to talk about, even if you don't mind, let's go down nuts and bolts into what really happened with you. When did you first think what happened in the sequence for your heart attack sequence? Where were you and what went down?
So we were at one of our facilities in Arkansas and working Saturday, over a weekend.
It was a Saturday.
And we were doing a fair bit of work on we were changing out some hand towel dispensers, to be blunt or be specific. New product had come in and we were changing some things out. And Onie was there with me, and like we always do, we virtually do everything together. And so we're down at the clinic. One or two of our guys were down there with us.
Yeah.
And so we're there, and it's mid-afternoon. We went to lunch.
We went to eat it.
Yeah.
Came
back, and my chest is kind of just killing me, right? And I'm using a screw gun to mount towel dispensers on the wall, which is not difficult work. I mean, I do a lot of very, very physical work. And in fact, I had been, Onie and I both had made a choice almost a year, 8 months prior to that, to start losing weight, get in a little better shape. We went to we have a place in Colorado we love going to, and we had gone out with a group of friends, and we just decided, hey, we really want to be in shape enough to enjoy life.
Hiking,
yes. Biking, being out of doors. I've skied for a very long time and loved to ski. And, that year, I think I had skied and probably got some sort of altitude effects, threw up on the slopes. I mean, I've never done that. I've been healthy, I've been whatever. So anyway, we made a conscious decision to get better, get a little healthier. I physically work very hard all the time in construction and have for 10, 15 years longer. So it wasn't that I was inactive.
No,
it wasn't that I had an office position.
And I would even say you were, I mean, when you say you wanted to get in better shape, it's not like either one of y'all were in terrible shape by any stretch at all. You were active and able to get around and do all the different things that you would ever want to do. And I would have said, yeah, he's in pretty good shape and she's in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
Not bad. I mean,
you thought so.
All right.
I was overweight. Dave really never was overweight. And he was doing kickboxing an hour a day when this
I was doing
happened.
CrossFit, and actually
CrossFit.
Sort of Joe had sort of got me kind of interested in CrossFit. And so I'd been walking, I'd been running, I'd been doing some biking. We had bought some bikes. We were doing that kind of thing. And so we were in currently the best shape of our current lives, right?
Yeah.
And the absolute last thing you expect or would think was even remotely possible is a heart attack.
Right.
And so we're down there working, and I'm kind of complaining and whining, and my wonderful wife
saying
is like,
your chest hurts.
I said my chest is killing me. So and my wonderful wife is like, suck it up. We got work to do.
So let's rephrase this. My husband was just whining.
She says.
And he was like, oh, I'm tired, And I did say, look, suck it up. We got a lot of stuff to do. I am the slave driver, but I was like, suck it up. We got a lot to do. This is not big stuff, And every time I'd go bring hand towels back to him, dispensers, he was, Well, heart attack never once had ever entered my
Didn't,
mind.
didn't it? Yeah.
And he didn't say, "Oh, my chest is killing me." Even if he hadn't said
I
that,
did say that, but she
it didn't
that
register.
didn't
he would
register.
have not.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, that wasn't even part of the remote registry, right?
Yes.
And then, of course, finally, my left arm was just on fire. Left elbow and left arm was kind of on fire, and I'm like,
Is that what made your?
that's probably not really a good sign. And
Yeah.
and
I walked back in an exam room and he's doing this with his elbow. And I was like, "Are you really not feeling good?" And he said, "Google what it is if you're having a heart attack." And at that time, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
Of course, you don't even know what you're supposed, so I'm like, "Hey, Google, what happens if a white man's having a heart attack?" Like this is
what
going
the
to be
hell
a big
white had to
difference.
do with
Yeah. And it said, and he instantly kind of looks white and he's like, "Drive me to the hospital." And you're like, "Oh, okay." And he takes the keys out of his pocket and hands them to me. And luckily the hospital was only 2 blocks away from the clinic.
Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
So-
so we go to the hospital, and of course you walk in and you feel like an idiot. I might be having a heart attack or something, and they kind of
"Oh, you look healthy."
nonchalantly look at you and go, "Well, you look like you're all right to me." So
Have a seat.
have a seat,
get
hang
quiet.
out. We'll be there in a minute. Eventually they did blood work, and of course,
They probably
to-
did an EKG
so
somewhere. in
they
there.
did EKGs, and EKG wasn't too
Good.
bad.
Yeah.
And they did blood work looking for enzyme issues. And so about 2 hours later, you're laying in a emergency room, just kind of bored and hanging out. And
And he actually started feeling better.
I actually started
Yeah.
feeling better. And we both kind of looked at each other and said,
You ready to get out of
this
here?
is, oh, I'm out of here, right?
Yeah.
And she goes,
And I
and she's
don't-
like,
I
well, we
don't
got work to do if you
think
feel
that-
good.
Yeah,
I'm
I
like,
don't think
well, okay.
doctors understand how important other people's lives really are.
Yes.
And we had a lot we needed to get done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they just wasn't. They
And if
were-
you know Onie, let me just tell you, Onie is not a slave driver, but you got a high pace.
Yeah.
And
We
you
both
expect
do.
other
We're
people to
driven.
have a
Have a
high
high
pace.
pace.
I mean, you are.
Yes.
If you look up lazy, there's not a picture of you there.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. It doesn't even have my toe on that one. I
No,
mean, there's
if you look up energetic, smart, engaging, gonna get this thing
Gonna
done.
get this driven.
Driven. We're gonna get
Highly
this
driven.
done.
Yeah.
There's a picture of Onie
Yes.
on that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
And
the-
so I had asked the nurse a couple times, "Hey, man," and nobody seemed to.
Respond.
Yeah, and then
And
David was like, "Hey, I'm
I
feeling good."
I actually felt fine. I was like, okay. I said, well, of course you're hooked up to the heart monitor and all
Yeah.
these other things. I said, well, just start unplugging that stuff. And I said, if it's important, they'll show up. And if it's not, let's go to
Yeah.
work.
And our deal was we're only 2 blocks away. They can call and tell us if there was something wrong. They can tell us. And so I did. I started unhooking all those things from Dave, and it didn't take very long. Those
They showed up.
yeah,
Amazing.
they became energetic and driven at that moment. It's like, "Oh, no, you are not going anywhere. Oh, that doctor will be here like right now." And I was like, "Well, he needs to, because we got stuff we got to get done here." And
Yeah.
he showed up, and
Doc showed up, and eventually somebody figured out you had a heart attack.
Well, he showed up and said, hey, look, your enzyme counts aren't where we want them to be. They're not insanely off the chart, but they're not where we want them to be. And we need you to see the cardiologist in the morning, and you're hanging out here
and you're
tonight.
not leaving. Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, really? And so we did, and he did a cath the next next day, and put a stent in the right side. And then because there was an occlusion on the left side also that was 95%, fairly significant, he didn't feel comfortable doing that at the same time. And so he came back Sunday and discussed options and said, you've got 2 options. We can do a fairly involved stent, or you can have open heart surgery.
And what'd you elect?
What did we?
What did you elect to do?
Oh, we elected after some discussion and thoughts to go with a stent.
Yeah. And we had a good
You
friend
know,
that was a
and
cardiologist.
We really
called him,
felt
and-
like Dr. Dobies was fantastic,
Really
and he
good,
was
yeah.
really, really good. as a patient, unlike or like builders, there's good and bad. There's experts and there's adequate, and there's people with lots of detail and finesse. And you really kind of challenge him as a doctor and say, okay, well, you know, I mean, I think Onie asked him if he was qualified. You know,
Yeah.
I think that sort of got his ire up just a little. It's kind of like, yes, I'm a fellow and have been a fellow for 20 years, and you know, and we are super, super thankful.
Oh, he's amazing.
Thankful we had him, and thankful that that's what we elected.
Yeah,
to
we
do.
were at the right place, right time, right doctor, right everything.
And
Because-
asking the right questions.
And
the last thing you want to do is go under a knife when you don't really understand what's going down.
Yes.
Well, and we asked some other folks, and their recommendation would have been open heart. Well, I don't, you know, I mean, I didn't want that to be our first choice.
Right.
And but super, super thankful. He
brought
did
in a couple
that
other
the following
doctors with
Monday,
him,
and on Tuesday I went home, and 2 weeks later I passed a stress test.
Yeah.
So I mean, my body was physically okay.
Yes.
I was there.
I tell people
I
all
had
the,
an occlusion that I didn't know about.
right. I tell people all the time, there's your cardiovascular system. The way I was, and I think you were, is we had really good cardio, meaning you move a lot of weights, move a lot of things, be active, energetic, and your cardio was good. The vascular of cardiovascular, we had troubles. And it wasn't in the big pipes that are causing, it was in the little pipes that go back to the heart that make the heart, it's the coronary arteries. They aren't the biggest arteries, but they're dadgum important arteries that send blood back to the heart so the heart can do its job.
Right.
And so both in your heart situation and mine, it's the coronary arteries that were filled with plaque that were restricting the blood flow and then the heart simply couldn't do its job. And if you neglect that, you're going to die from a heart attack. And both you and me both had a place where we were not healthy from a cardiovascular system, but it had more to do, not with the cardio, but the vascular.
Yes.
And thank goodness that we live in a time where you got options. I mean, the fact that somebody can go in, they went in my wrist and up my vessels to my heart and put in a stent. Sounds like they did something similar to you.
Yeah, they did the groin instead of the wrist, but same process, exactly the same process.
Same process.
Yeah.
Just amazing.
And amazingly, I felt great after the surgery. I mean, I woke up feeling good.
I mean, it was almost hard to process because David was so good before, and you would have never thought that. We're in the hospital for 3 or 4 days. He comes out and he feels
felt
great.
fine.
You
And
know,
it's-
and that
you know,
whole the
some
medical
people-
process is amazing. And it's
Some people talk about the fact that they've been tired or winded or struggled at physical activity. I never had that. Right. And for those folks, often when they have a stent put in, they feel so much better. They have so much better physical stamina or capability. For me, that there was no specific change that direction.
Right.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
And
You felt
you
good
know,
going in. When the event was happening, you didn't feel good. I mean, you were having trouble hanging accessories, hand towels and stuff. You know, for me, the same thing. I was having trouble hanging up. I was hanging at the rifle range, targets at the rifle range. That's super easy. But the point is that you were active and engaged before. You're active, engaged now. You don't feel that much different now than you did then. And this is what I want everybody, the people that are listening to this podcast, to hear, is that if you think you're in good shape and you think you're good, you're active, you're strong, you're capable, I want the women, the spouses, to hear the same thing, that when this thing goes down and you get blockage, for me, it was 100%. For you, did they tell you what it was?
80 on the right and 95 on the left.
There you go. When you get that kind of a blockage and when you're a different sort of a person, knowing the signs, getting to help quickly and having that respond at a hospital, getting care quickly is the key. And
Yes.
what I
Yeah,
want
don't
people-
ignore the signs.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
this is what I wanted
The
people to
sad
hear.
reality is we have a very, very close friend that 2 months after my heart attack, had a heart attack. And he's not
didn't
with
make
us.
it.
He did,
And-
right,
Okay.
didn't make it.
And he thought
And
he had
he-
the flu. And
He felt bad. He was exhausted. He went home early and just wanted to veg out.
went to bed early.
Went to bed early, felt bad over a weekend. Finally just says, hey, called his wife and said, hey, or not called her into the room or whatever and said, hey, call the ambulance. I need to go to the hospital. I don't know what's wrong.
Right.
And he died on the way to the hospital.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
And
So yeah, whenever we were called and heard you had your heart attack, I mean, you instantly get sick at your stomach because you relive it. But and I'm so thrilled you're good, but I'm beyond thrilled that you're doing podcast. You're talking about it because if there's one thing, just to be aware, if you think it might be, just go
Go get it checked out. That's right.
because, and if it isn't, so what? Okay, well, you wasted 2 hours of your life. But if you did, you saved your life, you saved your family. And
right.
so I am beyond thrilled that you're talking about this because everyone's lifestyles are so different now than they used to be years ago. And you can feel great until that moment. And you just, I mean, I bet David said to me 10 times, oh, it's probably nothing. You know, even driving to the hospital. I mean, because when you don't think about it and you aren't educated about it, you just don't know.
That's right.
well, and I
So
knew what the signs were, but
just learn to
either-
believe.
either you don't believe it or you're in denial or you're really not sure. And of course, you don't want to waste people's time and you don't want
It's
to
the same thing whenever
spend
you.
money. And,
Yeah, no,
you know.
it's the same exact thing. I'm gonna make an analogy to flying. When you have a flight, you have a mission. You plan the flight. You get to the airport. 3 people that are going to go with you. You look at the weather, and there's a line of thunderstorms coming. And you look at it, and you go, I could probably make it if I go take off and if we all load up within 5 minutes and take off and go over here and do this and get around this thing, and maybe I can do that, and it'll all be fine. Well, then it's not fine. It's the same thing of that question in your mind of, is this really me? Is there a decision? The point that I'm making is there's a place where you question yourself. For me, it was, no, I can't be having a heart attack. That's not me.
Exactly.
Dudes like me don't have heart attacks.
Exactly.
And same thing here. And that's my point behind the whole thing. It's the same thing where you'd say, no, guys like me, we accomplished the mission. We're going to take off and go make this thing happen. Or I can make that. The point is you need to know yourself. And if it's something outside of normal, it's not normal for Dave to be lethargic and for his left arm to hurt.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. My chest was killing me and my arm started being on fire. And it was like, okay, time out.
something's wrong.
Something's not right.
Something's
So,
not right. We got to
let's
go
go.
deal with this. Yeah. Anyway, I just want to applaud y'all for both.
Check it out.
Going to get it checked out
Yes.
and figuring out and leaning into the whole situation and getting it fixed.
Yes.
All right, let's branch off for just a second here, because you went. It was about a year for you to get your medical back. Tell me a few things. Tell me, how did that go? Meaning, you had to do a stress test. You had to fill out all the paperwork. You had to go to your AME, but it took a little longer than it should have. Than
Yeah.
you would wish it would have.
It definitely took longer than we wish it would have.
The
Okay.
FAA process took longer.
I would agree. I don't want anybody to be thrown under the bus here, because one of the things about this podcast is I don't want this to be a bashing session on a person out there.
Yeah.
Tell me this, knowing what you know now about going back and getting your medical and making that happen, what are some things that you can tell people that you would do if this happened again and you need to get your medical? What is something, because people that trying to get your medical back, I'm actually taking notes now because I'm trying to get mine back now. Tell our listeners some things that you would do either differently, not that you would be on your list of, hey, you want to get your medical back, here's what you need to do.
Well, I think the most important thing is really getting all of your records complete and accurate and detailed absolutely as soon as possible.
Dot your I's, cross your T's.
Yes.
Every single one.
If it says do it exact like there's
Well, and we did that. And
Yes.
so I built a 3-ring binder. And just for me, I did it in sort of probably a silly way, but I literally went day by day, right? So day 1, check into the hospital, go to the emergency room. Okay, what's the emergency room report? What's the blood work? What's the EKG? What's the test results of the blood work after it came back 4 hours later? What was the admitting doctor's comments or recommendations? Right? Now, so you've got the emergency room doctor. Now you've got an admitting doctor. Now you've got the cardiologist and his comments. And so I literally built that for every single day, right? And I was in the hospital 4 days. So day 2, you've got the family physician on the floor, you've got the cardiologist, you've got blood work, you've got, all these things.
gather all the data.
All the data was vitally, vitally important. And then with your recommendation, a really, really good person that we
and I'm going to go ahead and throw that out there for Tom Thomason.
Fantastic,
Yeah.
beyond fantastic.
Tom has been in our PA 46 community for decades and is an AME and just a wonderful, wonderful person. I've done matter of fact, you can go back in our podcast to listen to the Tom's exploits with aerobatics. He's an aerobatic guy and just a former jet prop owner, former Mirage owner, and just one of these just incredible people.
And I still owe him a 700 ride.
Yeah. Well, in fact, I'll go back. People had told us, "Oh, go hire these third parties. They got all the connections," and so we did that. We paid that. I think it was $2,000 to help somebody help you. Well, that's a joke. So don't do that. Everybody, listen to Onie here. Don't waste your money hiring those people. When Dave talked to the doctor in Florida, he was really the one that said, no, make your paperwork exactly right. And he went through everything Dave did and said, yes, that is all correct. That's how you need to do it.
Well, so I sent him a copy had talked to him and then sent him a copy of my records. And he went through them, right, to review them. And he was like, that's clean. If you can do that, I'll fly with you any day. And so we went through the records, went through everything, and then submitted that in mid-February.
Yeah. Yes. And I do want to say something. The cardiologist, what you don't know, you don't know. So for us, we were like, oh my God, what's going to happen? How are you going to get your life? Well, cardiologist knows. He works with people who are pilots, even commercial pilots, and it wasn't a big deal to them. It's like, yeah, no, you need this test. You need this paperwork. You need this. And so when it happens, trust your cardiologist because he has worked with the pilots that have had heart attacks. Right. And so he was very helpful.
That if I would say anything, a really, really good AME that is medically really savvy and good and can go through all of those documentation, but also FAA savvy.
Yes.
Who really understands the process of submittal, who really understands the format in which that's going to be clean. Because the last thing you want to do is submit it, go through the waiting process, and then have something inadequate.
Have it kicked back.
Sit on the table too long.
So if there's any defense at all to a third-party assistance, the only defense at all would be if they review that folder for its completeness before submittal.
That's right.
Aside from that, they had no benefit whatsoever in the process.
Correct. Let me say it differently. When there's a predatory action happening and you need some help from somebody to avoid that, let me give you a good instance. There's CAA out there. There are FBOs that are absolutely predatory that jump their prices up. And if you become a CAA member, then you get this lower price. I'm all for CAA because I think it's just absolutely wonderful, but it's not because CAA has this, there's a problem with a predatory FBOs that jump the fuel prices and jack their rates up and make all this happen. And you need CAA because you have a predatory system. the FAA really doesn't want a paying advocate, somebody that's paid to do this, because they don't have a predatory system. They merely have a system that is nitnoid, in the sense that they want all the data, they want it right, they want it in the way that they have it presented, because they don't want to give a medical back to somebody that doesn't deserve it. So it's not like these advocates are doing a better job than your AME. It's the fact that you need an AME that you know and trust and is nitnoid, that's going to help you assemble your data. And the other one that I got to tell you, in the military, we had a saying that said, you are your own best career manager. And what I mean by that is, you got to assemble your data. You got to look at that list. You got to help no one's going to do all this crap for you.
Yeah.
That's right.
I couldn't do it for Dave. He had to do it.
Dave had to do it for
Yes.
Dave. I got to do it for me. Now, I will tell you the place where you have it, because AMEs, not a specific AME, that I'm not drumming up business for Tom Thomason. No one needs to go call up Tom and say, can you help me do this? Because Tom's not their AME.
Yes.
And the point that somebody that's going through the system to get their medical back, for whatever reason it happens to be, it's not a predatory system. It's just a nitnoid system where you need all your I's crossed, or all your I's dotted, all your T's crossed, all the data in there, and you need to submit it in the right way. And then the FAA is good about handling this. I will say, you're still dealing with the federal government, and the federal government doesn't do, they do, I say nothing well, but they don't do anything as well as a capitalistic system. But this is one of the problems that we've got. One of the things that's happening is that when you're dealing with the FAA, it's not capitalistic in the sense that you can pay your way through, or you can make it. You got to follow their system. You're under their authority. It's one of the FAA is a needed thing.
Yes. Yes.
But the bureaucracy's got to be right. You got to get your ducks in a row, and you got to make it happen. Tom helped you.
Yes.
And that was good.
And my AME that I had used prior to that was a wonderful person and a really nice doc, but he's up in years, and he's sort of
He didn't advocate
a few years ahead of
Yeah.
me, but wasn't probably as technologically savvy and as understanding of that.
Ding ding.
And Dr. Thomason was.
Ding ding. That's the
And
point.
Yes.
That's what made the difference.
That's it.
And having a really solid AME that
Yeah.
really, really understands the submittal process and the system, and how to get that done electronically well, and how to present it in a way that is very crystal clear for
Yeah.
them to review.
You said that.
is important.
You said it right earlier, or one of you two said it right earlier when you talk about if you need a lawyer, get the best you can find. Get flight instructor, get the best you can find. You want a AME, a banker, these key people that are doing your thing. A builder for you guy, whoever
Yes.
your builder is. You probably don't just willy-nilly get you a builder.
Yes.
You got somebody that really knows how to build a clinic. And that's the same thing here. You want an AME that's very, very good, and let that person be an advocate for you,
Yes.
and go make that choice of who that AME is.
That's critical.
It's
Yeah.
critical.
Yes.
All right, well, here we go. I'm going to push in the clutch, and we're going to shift gears one more time, because we got another fun one to talk about. Y'all bought an M700, and I'm so excited because y'all brought that M700 to M class in fall of 2024, and it was like literally y'all almost picked that up from the factory and flew it here.
Yeah.
It was just incredible. And what was cool about it, I looked at your Hobbs meter at your 135 hours in 6 months, because it's now 6 months later. Y'all are flying this thing.
Yes.
Are you liking your M700?
We love
Yes.
it. It's
Yes.
fantastic plane. It's been lots of fun. That's
Okay, are you getting 300 knots?
I've seen 319.
Wow.
I average 313 to 315
Wow. Okay, so it's
every day.
so the numbers Piper's giving you are real.
They're real.
They're
Yeah.
real. Yeah.
Now we laugh about it and chuckle because I've sent pictures to several folks, and they're like, "Damn!" I had a salesman call me one too long ago. It's like, "Is that picture I saw from you?" And I'm like, "I don't know. What'd you see?" He's like, "Well, somewhere around 317." I'm like, "Yeah, that's for me."
Yeah.
And but Max Cruz 313 to 315 every day. It likes it higher. So the Dash 52
Right.
likes 2.5 to 2.7.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or a little higher, 2.8.
That's right.
It's faster there. I'm 303 to 305, 306 at 230.
Yeah.
But
But steadily getting us something that starts with a 3. So if you move up to this airplane, are you going to get 300 plus? And the answer is yes every time.
And really, Piper said that it was 30 knots faster. It is.
You know,
I mean, I was 272 to 280 max, 281.
Yeah.
It's 30 knots faster.
It's
No
30.
questions asked.
no
right?
questions asked. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I think Piper was really smart with this. I love the bigger engine. I noticed today is my first day to fly the M700. I was so excited. Y'all
That's
came.
awesome.
I noticed these. It's got a wider pitch trim range, like the M600 had.
It does.
There's like a little green thing. This has a wider range, which allows you to, when you take off, to not have a takeoff config light. The database updating. Talk to me
That's
just a-
actually been awesome. That I was a little skeptical about, and initially had to kind of work through. We got a database hung and had to go clean it out and delete it to get the system happy. But I can tell you that has worked flawlessly.
And
I
it
mean,
literally where it
literally.
automatically updates.
it automatically updates, and you crawl in the plane and the
Everything's right.
databases are up to date, and it may synchronize the databases when you start up. It tells you, what position they're in, where they are.
Yeah. We've really migrated from the earliest M600s, which are a total pain in the butt to update, to the M700 now, which updates automatically, assuming you got the right connectivity and all that kind of.
Plane sync, and that really does work.
Yeah, it's fabulous.
For
stuff.
me, and you,
Yeah.
the thing that I love the most about this plane, and I won't say it technically right, but whenever you're on an IR4, they have those chevrons,
Yes.
but it works so amazing. And
Okay, so let me say it better. The synthetic
Okay.
vision on this, it's the upgraded, enhanced synthetic vision. And the picture you see on that panel with all the nice little chevrons and arrows it's a spectacular presentation.
well,
It
and
is.
the last 2 months or whenever, when all of us have been in there flying in late at night, lower ceilings, crosswinds. I mean, it's just like it's an extra pilot setting there. And it's just, you're sure we're right on the airport. Yes, we're going the right. I mean, it's just an extra pilot, and it works amazing. I mean, kudos to Garmin on those. It's amazing.
Safe taxi,
Yeah.
the safe taxi
It's enhanced.
description enhanced. I mean,
It's got a picture of my hangar out. I mean, literally, I could navigate.
Joe's like, wow,
Yes.
that's my hanger on the panel.
yes. That is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And especially if somebody is flying by themselves, any kind of weather, boy, it is an extra set of eyes that's phenomenal.
Yeah. I wrote down the nose gear limits or the nose gear. The gear is the same, but the way it shows the limits and it's just a safer, better way to do it. The advanced safe taxi, I've already talked about. The phone pockets. It's got little places to put your phone everywhere, in a pen compartment. And I'd say Piper's in my opinion, Piper's done a real good job with the interior appointments. In other words, the inside of your airplane just looks fantastic.
Yes.
I mean,
They've changed the plugins for your charging ports. They've that's the little cup holder folds up and down. And
Move the light switches so that you don't accidentally turn them on and off in the back of the plane and
Yeah.
not realize that until
yes.
dusk sets in
Yes.
and the lights are on.
Yeah. So when you go for an M700, do you go to a better airplane than an M600? The answer is yes. You go significantly faster. You climb significantly better rate of climb, and your appointments and just about everything are better. It truly is a better airplane than an M600.
Yes.
M600 is a great airplane.
Oh yes.
Wonderful.
They've
Wonderful,
been
wonderful
wonderful.
airplane.
Yes. And the I don't know what you call it, but the button that you turn and it shows you like how much oxygen you have,
the aircraft
system. That's really
pages
cool. I mean,
are really definitive in showing you the position of landing gear, the
The ergonomics in the cockpit and the cockpit
Yes.
presentation and the way it speaks to you.
well done.
Yes.
extremely
Yes.
well done. I'm telling you, Piper, y'all I'm really impressed, Piper, the M700. It's my first time to fly it. Very much where y'all hearken back to the heritage where, in other words, if you're flying a Meridian or an M600, flying the M700 is no big deal. Just
No.
Yeah.
The transition is this. It's literally the same airplane. More
cakewalk.
powerful,
Yeah.
faster,
Yeah.
but the wing is the same. The rotation is the same.
Yes.
Climb rates are nice.
Yeah.
Procedures
obviously.
are the same.
Procedures are the same.
Yeah, no, that's going to be a thing, but your experience is going to be better.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, Piper's wonderful, but I'm telling you, Garmin's wonderful too. From the 182, when we updated Garmin systems through all we've had, this is our 6th airplane with Garmin. There's not a time that we don't call Garmin. I don't care if it's at Oshkosh in the booth or we call them, that we don't get really good help and assistance. And they always want to know if Dave has a problem or we think something's not right. They are so good about listening, making improvements, giving, so kudos to
Garmin's at the very
Garmin,
top of the game.
Piper,
Yeah,
KCAC, they're wonderful.
Yeah.
I mean,
I have said at times I might consider another aircraft, but it won't be if it doesn't have Garmin in it.
yeah,
That's right. That's exactly right.
that's it, yes.
I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Garmin has, and it's not like they have a monopoly because they exercise some way of twisting somebody's arm. They have a monopoly because they're better.
Yes.
They're really, really good.
And they strive to get better. They
right.
want to hear if there's a flaw or maybe
That's
a little glitch or whatever. Yes.
Yeah, I agree. Garmin's it doesn't mean that somebody can't supplant them and make it better. I'm
Yes.
excited about other people trying and doing different things, but I'm telling you right now, Garmin's at the very top of the game, and I don't care what you're flying. If it has Garmin in it, I'm pretty happy with things.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't have Garmin, I'm going like, I don't know, guys. I mean, I'm hearkening back. Garmin's the leader right now. There's no doubt about it. And some of the advancements on the M700 are directly related to the Garmin experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. David, Onie, I appreciate you two being a part of KC Aviation, being a part of my life for the last decade plus, and bringing the M700 for me to be able to fly and be a
We've
part
enjoyed it. We were laughing the other day. You came to the house doing Dave's training, and we needed to go to a clinic in Waynesville, Missouri. And you're like, hey, we'll do training flying there. And then you help us hang curtain tracks. And, so you've been part of our lives now for 10 years that we're really happy with.
Yeah, it's been a good relationship. And I appreciate y'all talking about heart attacks and what you're doing and all that. I think people that listen to this are going to be better for it. And you never know. There may be that person out there that does have a heart event and thinks to themselves, it can't be me, but Joe and Dave said, and Joe and Dave and Onie, they all said that it could be you.
Yes.
And then they run to the hospital. And if we save that one person, we gave that little thing where they go, I'm not going to go back home and lay in my bed, and they're going to go get it checked out, then maybe we did some good in the world.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you all for being a part of the Malibu Guru Podcast and the KC Aviation YouTube channel.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I hope you've enjoyed today. It's been a lot of fun for us to talk with you and talk about heart attacks and M700s and just meet cool people. Cool people fly these airplanes. That's why I'm here. Dave and Onie, they're the kind of people that I like hanging around with. Joe Casey and
David and Onie Irvine.
signing out.